All right, everyone. This is David Washington, your favorite political innovator here at the Jane Washington Network. And today, it's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a while. Today, we have another episode of Ground Zero Florida. Yes, indeed. I think we'll make Ground Zero Florida a monthly installation. And I'm thinking we'll do the same with the David Washington Show. Of course, the David Washington Show is more opinionated based on facts. Ground Zero Florida is a culmination of factual information that's happening here, of course, politically in Florida. So anyway, about Florida, about this particular title, the Democrats have been doing well across the country. Special elections, municipal elections. Does that bode well for Democrats overall? Does it bode well for Democrats in the midterms? Does it bode well for 2028? I'm going to take the midterms. Well, for 2028 and 2026, I'm going to say it's hopeful. However, I wouldn't necessarily count my chickens before they hatch, so to speak. Yes, we had Democrats win in President Trump's home district for state rep. We had a Democrat win in a special election for a state Senate seat, I believe in Hillsborough, against a very well-financed and formidable candidate, opponent, Representative Josie Tomko. And they did well. These Democrats did well. There was one district that the Democrats didn't do well, was very much heavy Republican. However, and this is what I laugh at. Pundits to say, "Oh, this was a plus 25, Trump seat, and the Democrats overperformed." That blah blah blah. Please, 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 people. This is just pundits in the media making their money, stoking the fires of an exciting election cycle to appear. Essentially, it's special elections and municipal elections. It's a very small turnout. And hey, there are some of these special elections, where there's 20, 25%. Hooray, hurrah, excellent. However, that is not a strong indicator of what's going to happen in the larger midterm and also presidential elections, period. Also, it's very, very early to make predictions like that. As you are aware, or if you're not aware, I'm not big on polling. I'm just not. A lot of these polls are very late. The polls that matter are the ones on election day. So, looking at the outcome on election day for these Democratic wins, you have to say there's positives there for them. Very positive. However, again, you have to take that cautiously. That means, you have to make sure that you stick on your message. That has to stick with the consistency. You have to look beyond your base, because typically in these special elections, municipal elections, you get the base, the highly motivated, the highly persuade that come out and vote in these elections. So whatever brought the folks who came out for our union guy in the special election in the Senate district in Hillsborough, or for the Democrat in Mar-a-Lago, those messages have to meet a broader constituency. And if I remember looking at the numbers, those NPA voters, they just didn't come out as I would hope they would. I don't think there was an expansion of the electorate. You know something? Let's check it out. Let's see if what those numbers were. Let's check it out. Hold a second. We're gonna pause. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so I went to Gemini and I looked this up very quickly. So interesting, very interesting. So in House District 87, that is the district that President Trump Mar-a-Lago residence is located. There was a turnout of up 29%. That's really good for a special election, and it was Democrat Emily Gregory that flipped that seat. At least 33,473 ballots were cast out of about 116,000. So that number could be better, but here's some more context here. Contacts. She won over the Republican John Maples about 51.15%. 51.15%. And the Republicans, here's the context, the Republicans maintained a turnout advantage with 15,351 votes and only 12,108 for Democrats. It was the independent non-party affiliated voters, 5,314, that were credited with influencing the final outcome. That right there, my politicos, is what matters. That independent NPA vote. And we will see this, mark my words, we will see this in the upcoming midterm elections. That growing NPA, independent vote, is going to matter more and more in these elections. So let's look at Senate District 14, where Brian Nathan defeated Representative Jose Tomko. 80,140 ballots were cast from approximately 300,000 registered voters. Only 80,000 ballots were cast. And so Nathan won by 408 votes, 50.25% to 49.75%. 408 votes that Josie Tomko lost. And the turnout, 27% in this special election. It was considered record-breaking. So typically, it's 15% turnout in Hillsborough's last special legislative election in 2017, nearly doubled. I can't say this enough. Democrat, Republican, everyone in between, whatever. Turnout. Getting your votes out. Just persuading and getting your voters to turn out is so important. It's so important. Growing, expanding the electorate. Any of my candidates would tell you that. Expanding the electorate gives you a better chance of winning. And then, of course, those independent voters, as we saw in the special House District 87 race. Those independent voters are making a difference. They may turn out in lesser numbers than Democrats and Republicans, but they are turning out and they are making the difference in these elections. So again, congratulations, Democrats, on doing what you're doing, not just here in Florida, but across the country in these special elections. Some of your heroes have gone down. Representative Jasmine Crockett. We had another one of you guys that recently fell. I think also the representative from Texas lost his primary. Not Texas, New Mexico. It'll come back to me. However, regardless, Democrats are putting up some good wins. However, the pundits are telling you As they've stated before, and you can go back to, Pod Save America. Oh man, we're going to see Democrats roll. Oh boy, Democrats are looking good. This is 2024, right? It's going to be a good year for Democrats. And those folks at Pod Save America, you got your butts handed to you. And some other liberal podcasters. Some of the liberal podcasters, they just, after 2024, they just walked away. It is what it is. But this is a warning. It's still relatively early. This is April 16th. We've got so much that can happen in our history between now and the time that ballots hit the mailboxes, that early voting begins. I still predict that Republicans will keep Congress, the House, and the Senate. I still believe that the Democrats are fractured in their messaging. Those at the local level will do best to message directly about what their constituents' kitchen table issues are. Republicans, stay the course. It may look ugly right now. However, things are looking better. Don't trust me? You need to really do your homework. Take some time out, a whole weekend, and do your research. Do your research on the war with Iran. There's so many layers to that mainstream media is missing, or not necessarily missing because they just don't know any better. They're purposely misinforming, scaring Americans with their reporting. New York Times, I'm talking to you. Please, everyone, do your own damn research. There are layers. The obvious answer is not necessarily the best answer. There's so much going on. There's prosperity on its way. Yesterday was tax day. People will be getting their tax return checks soon. Average 11% more than what they received in advance. This is good. More and more people are understanding. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. It's helping. No tax on the, what is it, the interest rate, or the tax on, purchasing a new car, a U.S. made car. Those things are going to come to fruition. We're talking about the financial system. Nearly a complete overhaul with the introduction of the Genius Act and hopefully soon the Clarity Act. What's happening with Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac? Freddie Mac? There's so much going on, and it's incumbent upon you, the viewer, to do your own research, because I see the prosperity that is on this way. Inflation is under 2%. When you look at the true inflation data, gas prices may be high, but for the majority of us, how often do you fill up your car? Anyway, there's a lot to talk about. It's good to be back on Ground Zero, Florida. We've got the special session that's occurring at the end of the month of April, starting April 28th into the first week of May. We have qualifying for judicial candidates happening next week. So pay attention to that. Do your research on those candidates who are running for elected office. And I can probably assure you right now, there's a whole bunch of candidates and elected judges who are running, who will have no competition, and they will be reelected because they went unopposed. That's democracy when it fails. So please do your homework. We'll see you the next time. If you enjoy what you hear and what you see, please do not hesitate to like, share, and let those individuals that you believe will benefit this type of content, share it with your friends, your family, those influencers in the wild, candidates, and those elected officials. They can learn something. Okay? See you next time. I love you. God bless. I'm David Washington, your favorite political innovator. See you soon. And check out our blog. I've got to update the blog. A newsletter's coming out. Some really good stuff. Take care.